Alright, so now we're going to do my go-to face makeup, and for this one, I really want my hair out of my face. Once again, eyes I could have dealt with it, but face, I like to wear, well, I was already wearing a clip, but normally I'd like throw on a headband, something like that, and get it out of my face, because we don't want that there. So when doing face makeup, I definitely always start with my skincare, which I've already done, because you want to have a fresh canvas. So in my case, I tone. Well, sometimes I do a cleanser, but I don't always cleanse my face in the morning because your skin feeling oily in the morning is not always a bad thing. Your skin should produce oil. But I do sometimes cleanse before I do my makeup. Just because if I wake up at like 10 and I don't do my makeup till 3, I want that really fresh face. And then I'll use a serum. In my case, I use a vitamin C serum by Ole Henriksen. Never know how to say his name. And then I go in with his moisturizer too, which is a C cream, I think it's called, brightening moisturizer. And then I go in with his banana eye brightening cream underneath. And I think that's it for skincare for before my makeup. And you want to let each of these products sit. You don't want to go in with your moisturizer and then immediately start caking on your makeup. You want to let it set into your skin. So just give it a couple minutes. I'm not saying like 30 minutes, but a couple minutes to let it all sit in. And then once I do that, I will go in with a primer, which I use primer because I have pores. I am oily, and those are two things that primers can fix. So I use 2 different primers, and the one primer I'm going to touch on is specifically a pore primer, and I only use those in here. Other reasons to use primer: it helps create a barrier, it helps put the makeup on smoother, in my opinion, and they will mattify you if you need that. Like I said, I'm oily. They will fill in pores. There's hydrating primers out there. So depending on your concern, it will just give you that face that you need. So in my case, I use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, which is, I believe, one of the OG primers. And this gives a matte finish for me. And I just put a little bit on my hand and grab it onto my face and gently blend it in there. And that is that. You don't need to go in heavily. On YouTube, you're going to see people dropping it on to their face. So unnecessary and wasteful. Don't do that. A little bit goes a long way. Then, like I said, because I have pores, I like to go in with the Benefit Pore Professional primer. And I just grab a little bit, once again. Like I said, I just have this tiny sample tube I happen to get. Blot it on and pat it in. This one I more pat because you're trying to fill those pores with the product. You really want to get it in there. And we're all primed. Yippee! I have a lot of primers too, just depending on work days I don't really care about. I'll just use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty, which is a new primer. And I've really been liking it. It's supposed to be a dupe for the Tatcha Silk Canvas, which is like one of the most widely known newer primers. And this one I just kind of throw on. It's more like a thicker primer. And I like it a lot though, but I've heard mixed reviews. But in my case, I like it. So that is a great drugstore primer. I think that's my only drugstore one in here. So I don't have any other drugstore recs. Okay, so now that you're all primed, this is when I'm just going to go right in with my foundation. In my case, I use a beauty sponge. During the week, I use a brush because I don't want to wet my sponge. And if you're going to use a foundation brush, I go in with something more dense, compact. This is probably like, there's better brushes out there. I think it's the Y6 possibly from Morphe that is a good foundation brush. Basically, you don't want something super fluffy like this is very fluffy. You want something a little more dense that you can pack it on with. Like I said, I prefer sponge because the sponge blends nicer, and you will get typically a heavier coverage with a brush, which is shocking that I prefer this, but you can still get a super full coverage look with the sponge, as you will see. And I just prefer it because it's easier and blends everything out, and it pushes the makeup into the skin. Brushes, you can get streaks, so even when I use a brush, a lot of people, including myself, go back over with the sponge after the brush just to make sure everything's patted out, no lines. So I today, even though I'm in quarantine, so I have been using my drugstore makeup, I'm going to go in with my higher end makeup, and I have quite a few, but right now I mainly use the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation. And it is long wearing. Like, I can wear my makeup overnight, and which I do not normally do, but there have been a few times where I just forget to take it off, and it still looks decent for me the next day. I mean, I'm not like gonna be walking down the runways, but it looks okay. So I like this one. Like I said, I have more oily skin. I think if you have dry skin, this would be okay, but there's definitely better foundations out there for you. This one's like super mattifying as well, and that's not for everyone. I am a very matte makeup person, especially for going out at night. Sometimes during the work week, like, I'll use a more natural one, but going out, matte all the way. And I'll just take a few pumps onto my hand. Haven't used this one in a while, and depending how I want to do it, sometimes I'll just take a few dots and kind of put it around my face. Or sometimes I will just pick it up right on the sponge and start blending. Today I just did that just to show you. And eventually I'll put a little more on. That's when I'll for sure come back with the brush. So you just want to pat that off. I'm so not used to the camera like being like the reverse version of me. So it's very confusing. And I just pat that in, like I said. Make sure you get it around your nostrils. I will put a concealer on, so some people, like, I normally do, like, put a little tiny layer under my eye, but some people don't do that, and they'll just go in only with the concealer. I do bring it down a little just to get it blended. So when you go and buy foundation, especially, you're trying to find your shade, you want to shade match down here because you don't want to shade match in the spots that get more sun. You want to get the most natural color on you. And then a lot of people might think like, oh my god, this is not my color, because no one wants to see themselves as pale as they are. But newsflash, most people are more pale than they want to be. So I look sickly because my under eyes are still shining through a little bit because I didn't go all the way under there. But yeah, so you want to get the closest to your skin tone, but I mean, it's not always going to be perfect, especially because I'm not an influencer and I don't get the whole shade range, so I can't just mix two together. So I don't like spending that much money, so I just go with the closest one. Mine is 2N1. It's Cashew. That's the one that I go with. So I have a more neutral undertone. That's something you can find out with some research. Undertones are really important with makeup. Like, if you have the right shade but the wrong undertone, like, it's not going to look right. I would say, like, it's better to go like one shade darker on accident in the right undertone, like, than a closer color match but in the wrong undertone. Okay, so let me just look. I still have some marks showing through. Let me see if I can get a better angle so you could see. There's just still a little more discoloration than I like. Down in here, which is, like I said, a little harder to see in the lighting. So I just go in with a little more. And like I said, this time I'm going to pick it up right on the sponge and pat it in. My problem areas are definitely right around my mouth area. My cheeks are normally okay, but definitely the chin is not my friend. My hormonal acne is my enemy because I do everything I need to do with my skin, and the world still says it's not enough. You will have acne at 26 years old. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so now that we put more on, I'm covered. And if you're someone with really nice skin, the center of your face is normally where you have the most discoloration. So you could just start more centralized and blend outward. For me, or if you like, I have some redness on my cheeks and I use such a full coverage foundation that I really want to blend it all in. But like I said, if you're using a lighter foundation or you have really nice skin, start in the center and blend out. Start and blend. Okay, so now that we have our foundation on, we go on to concealer. And my personal preference is to use a concealer that is a shade lighter because I like my concealer to brighten. I'm not using concealer to treat or cover specific spots on my face. In that case, you're going to want to pick the one that is an exact match. A lot of people go lighter when they're trying to cover a spot. No. Pick your same shade of your face because it will blend out easier. If you have a really big red spot, I do put sometimes like a little green dot because that will cancel out the red. You don't want to go too overboard because then you're having to overcorrect with your foundation and it's not going to match right. So yeah, I just conceal to brighten normally. So I go in with a shade lighter. Shape Tape is my tried and true. But like I said, once again, I don't have dry skin. I don't at all. Some people that do have dry skin don't like this one as much because it is heavier, and I don't have that many under eye creases either, or dry skin, so there's not that much for this to get picked up on. But if you are someone that has those issues, a lot of people still like it, but you might want to experiment. I also have the Jeffree Star concealer, which I did really like as well, and this one is definitely not as matte as this one, so I recommend if you don't want something as matte, try out this one. I think I've also heard good things about NARS Creamy Radiant, I think it's called, the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I also have. e.l.f. is a great drugstore brand. It is a little thicker though, so also very full coverage. Anyway, so we're going to go in, and I used to do the whole triangle thing. Run it all down in a triangle, but I'm trying to try something new and not use as much because it will blend out more. So we did that. Then I do the middle of the forehead, down the nose, here, and middle of the chin. And I just quickly blend that out. Again, just to brighten. These are spots on your face where the light hits more and you typically do have brighter skin in these spots. So you're just kind of bringing back, like I said, because I use such full coverage foundation and it's so mattifying, you're bringing back that place like how your skin would normally look. So now we're going to go on the under eyes and I'll dab and then I'll bring it. So instead of already having all that concealer caked under there in a full-on triangle, I'll still make that shape, but I won't lay the concealer down in that shape because I find then you have more concealer than you need, and the more concealer you put on, the more it's going to cake. And that is the opposite of what we want. We don't want cakiness. So, as you can see, it did brighten it up. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. No, my mom just texted me. Sorry, got distracted. Interesting. Okay. Mom's trying to order some wine. And I just ordered wine, which can shock some people because I'm not a wine drinker at all. But I ordered it mainly to put on my bar cart because, you know, aesthetic matters. So yeah, she wants to know how fast it'll get here, and it was not fast. Okay, and I just put a little bit more because that is the spot of my under eye that has the most discoloration. So I do not want any thin shining bright. Okay, and then we have it all blended. And now here's another part of my makeup routine that I have slightly changed, but I'm still going to do it slightly. And I'm going to use the, actually, no, we can do it. Okay, so I use the Jeffree Star setting powder. It smells delicious, like baked cotton candy, and it doesn't linger on your face though. It smells good and then it goes away. I also love the Laura Mercier one. I have the Kylie one in light pink, but I love the Jeffree Star, the Laura Mercier. I want to buy more. I just don't want to spend the money. And then I've heard really good things about the Maybelline Fit Me powder as well, if you're looking for a drugstore alternative. So I used to bake my face like heavily under the eyes, and baking is when you set on your translucent powder and you let it sit there. Baking is to really make sure your under eye makeup doesn't go anywhere. So it looks great on camera, but in real life sometimes if you set it for too long, it might look powdery. So I used to bake my face like a really long time, but I'm only going to set it there a little bit. I still like to set it, but I don't need it on for as long. So, do I want a cream contour? So I'm not going out, but if I was, I would normally use this Huda Beauty cream contour. Okay, I'll just do a light one just because this is supposed to be what I would do going out. So here I am. So I take a brush like this. What other ones have I used? Or like this. And I pick up this cream contour and I lay it where your shadow would hit. So like right here. I'm going to do it. Right there. I don't go like super deep because I am going to bronze up. And then I put some on the outer part of my forehead, just a little bit. And then sweep my jawline. And there's that. And then we're gonna just take that sponge and blend it out. I don't have that large of a forehead, so I don't focus too much on the top part of my forehead. I do the sides. People with a larger forehead, like, do you want to contour more up above, because then you're bringing more shadow in, and then if you bring the lightness in the center, it will just slim down your face, which is the whole point of contouring. And then a contour up. Don't want to contour down, because then you're dragging your face down, and you're trying to make it look like this. So I just kind of blend it like this, and then I'm going to take a brush though, just kind of make sure. And I haven't put any bronzer on, so that's going to help blend it. So that was a mess because I wasn't looking at the camera. Here we are. Okay. So now, after that, I'm going to get rid of the setting powder. And I use a brush like this. And I just sweep it off, like the first layer. Eventually I'm going to go in with a fluffy brush. One thing about when you bake is that people are afraid they're going to get flashback. But if you use the right product, you shouldn't have flashback. So some cheaper products, you will get flashback. And flashback is when you take a photo with a flash, it's white. Now, I bake my face, and I have not had problems with these setting powders, so you shouldn't either. Alright, so now that we have baked the under eye and lightly cream contoured, like I said, I'm not a heavy cream contour person, but I do just add a little bit, and I am going to go in with my nose, just because that is what I would typically do. I pick it up on a brush like this, and I stamp it off in my hand, just because I don't heavily contour my nose, so I just lightly go down the bridges and the tip. And then I grab an even smaller brush, a really small brush, and I just blend it down. Again, like I said, I don't heavily contour, but I definitely normally, if I'm doing all this to my face, like, I might as well do the nose. And that's that for that part of it with the cream contour. Cream is a little difficult to work with sometimes, so if you're like new to cream or like contouring, like I would start with bronzers and stuff and work your way up. So now we go in with the bronzer. I use different bronzers every time I do my makeup, like with the same 2 high-end bronzers, and I don't even know why I use them both, like every time, or like why I have the routine I do, but this is what I do. So I grab a bigger brush first, and I go in with my Marc Jacobs Tantastic bronzer. Okay, pick it up, and then I need to use this mirror. Swipe, swipe, swipe. I love this bronzer. It has such, it's definitely more, the other one I'm going to use is the Hoola. This one is definitely a little more natural looking. Like, it really blends out, like, beautifully, and I love it. Like, if I had to choose one, like, to wear, like, if I was going for, like, a more natural look, I would definitely choose this one. And it works well with, like, all skin tones. I go under my jaw just a little bit, just to add a little more definition. Also, I pick it up, but I do tap it off, because like I said, You don't want excess powder. A little breakout right there, but it's okay. Down here. And then we're gonna go on the outer part of my forehead. Just a touch there. And that is this one. Also, a new step I've been doing based off some people I follow. I think Jamie Genevieve is the one that taught me this one. She goes in with her bronzer, and when she does her nose, slightly, she'll bring it from here, and then just kind of like 1 or 2 sweeps like all across her look to make it really like all blended. It adds like a natural look, she says, but I do it and I've liked it so far. So that is the Tantastic bronzer, and it smells like coconut. It smells amazing. So then I go in with Hoola, which is like, I would say one of the more one of the most famous bronzers on the market. This one is a little more burnt orangey. It still like works with a lot of people's skin tones, but it has more pigment and brightness than the Marc Jacobs. So if you're not into super bronzy looks, like, I would recommend the Marc Jacobs. This one I definitely type up. This one has a lot more fallout. And this one I just do a more concentrated look, so I take it on them and I sweep it. And then more finely blend it right in that. I start at the top of my ear. And that looks crazy, I know, guys. It looks crazy. It won't. Put it down here. And I haven't picked up any more powder on this brush. I'm just, well, after the second cheek. So, now I am going to wait a little bit. I'm going to blend this out just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to, this is going to be a really quick bake once again. Make a line on your jawline. Guys, my friends better comment on my makeup on my Zoom call, because I've been wearing makeup for my Zoom call, but like, I haven't been doing all this, so I hope it looks a little different. So now we're done with bronzer, and I'm gonna go in with blush, which ones do I want to do? So the 4 blushes I have are the NARS Orgasm, which is like a classic. This is like a pink, and it has a shimmer to it. Similarly, we have the Milani, which is a drugstore one, and it's Luminoso, and it is a classic. I wear it to work most days because it has like a slight pinky peach tone and a shimmer to it, and it just has a really nice natural glow. Then I have the Tarte, this pink, but it's a little deeper. It has a shimmer also, but really subtle. I don't know why 3 of my blushes have shimmers, because I do sometimes have texture. Not as much on my cheeks, but if you have texture on your cheeks, like acne, I don't recommend using a heavy shimmer because it's just going to accentuate them. And then I have my Kylie blush, which I got fairly recently, and I have been loving it though. It's just this pink called Baddie on the Block. It's definitely a pink, but it has like a coral tone. I'm just trying to decide based off. So this is what I normally use. I use this, and then sometimes I'll go in with NARS Orgasm on top, like over here where I put like highlighter. But because my eyeshadow is more like rosy, I think I'm gonna go with the Tarte one today. Yeah, okay. So I picked that up on a brush like this, a little fluffier. Step in, and I start here, and I just blend, pat it in, pat it in, and I pat it, and I go up, because again, I'm trying to make my face go up and up. Now, one of the tricks that people say to do is to smile when putting on your blush, right? We've all heard it. So you really can get the apples of your cheeks. However, I do not do that anymore because I just like to look at myself how I'm sitting. Most times when I'm doing something, I'm not sitting in the room, right? And I'm not smiling all the time. This is how my face normally looks. So I like to look at myself with a flat face and see where my cheeks would hit. Some people, when you smile and you put it heavily here, then when your face falls, this is where my fingers are, and that's a little higher than where I want my blush. Like I said, I go here more, not here more, so just slightly higher, but still makes a difference. So that's my little tip for you. Okay, so now we're going to brush this off. Probably put it on a little longer than I would like. But this trick helps you really carve out your jawline because you're making even more of a distinct line with that contour. And like I said, I mean, not everyone cares that much about bronzer, or they might not like this harsh look, but like when I do my makeup, I'm not really going for natural. So like I said, I bake, I do it all. I use a ton of bronzer. I do it all. So now I'm going to go in with setting powder. I've been trying to remember, but I keep forgetting that a lot of people use setting powder after their cream products and before they use anything else. Like after the foundation and concealer, they'll set it with powder and then they'll go in with their bronzer and stuff. That's something I'm trying to do, but I keep forgetting, and I just end up doing it at the end. So here I am. Setting powder. I have oily skin, so it's especially important for me, but honestly, I feel like it's important. If you're going for that all-night look, you want your makeup to stay in place. This will help set it all so it doesn't move. It'll help if you're sweating. It'll help with shine, and this one just smells good. So I'm like, all right, let's put it on. They also sell, mine's a loose powder. They sell pressed powders, and those would be good like for touching up your makeup too. Like I keep meaning to buy one to bring out, but I have a habit of losing some makeup when I'm out. So I'm like, I try not to bring my expensive makeup out because I do not trust myself. So now that we're all set, I'm going to go in with my highlighter. I use Jeffree Star highlighters, so I have two of his. I have a pink one. Someone shattered it, and I fixed it a while ago. I think it's with alcohol, rubbing alcohol or something. I don't know. You have to look it up online, but you mix it in, crack it up, mix it in, and set it back down. And I have it in gold. So let's see how this pink one works without wetting it. Oh, okay, you can kind of see it, but again, like this is not the best lighting. I'm just going to put on a light layer, but now I'm going to do what I do, and that is wet the powder. So we're going to go in with the setting spray I use, which is All Nighter, Peppermint Decay. It's classic. Highly recommend. We're going to wet the brush because that's going to make it stick even more. applying wet with glitters is always best because it's really going to make that shimmer shine. Ooh, you can see a little bit. Like again, I'm a beauty YouTuber. I don't have all the gadgets, but I know if I did, you'd be seeing it even clearer right now because it's there. It's there. It's there and it's beautiful, guys. It's there and it's beautiful. And then we're gonna blend that a little because when you use a spray, you can also use a fan brush. I use a highlighter brush like this, but a fan brush can give you a very like natural highlighter look. Again, I'm not really going for natural. So yeah, just put highlighter on right there, just brighten things up, and then I will also pick it up, and you just kind of want to go like where the light hits you, and that one I just do a really light layer. And then with my finger, I pick some up, and I go down tip of my nose, the bridge of my nose, up my lip. I mean, I'm not like going crazy on the tip of my lip because I'm not a huge fan of that look, but normally we'll like briefly touch it. A little touch, little graze. Okay, so now we have our highlighter done. Let's see it. So I did my under eye makeup earlier for a different video, which I normally would go back in and do it after my concealer and stuff, just because that clearly makes the most sense in life, you know, since it probably got messed up. So let me just grab that really quickly, touch it up for you guys, just so I'm really looking my best for you all. And I didn't put mascara on the bottom, so this just reminded me because I was waiting to be done with my look. Okay, so let me just do that. For you guys, I've used the roller lash, like I mentioned in my video, because it really hugs the lower lashes. And I just put on a quick coat of bottom mascara. By the way, how cute are these clips? I got them in a pack. Actually, I might have bought them individually, but I bought them on Etsy, and I have them in pink, and then I have them in a blue too, a blue and pink, and I have these. I'm gonna do a hair tutorial. So these are blue and pink, and then I have these curl ones. My friend has the other one, but it came with 4, and these are from Amazon. So if you want that, let me know. Anyway, so now we have everything on, and I'm going to set it. And like I said, I use the Urban Decay. I set my makeup because, once again, I'm oily. Have I said that enough? And I just really want my makeup to last all day long. Push it into the skin a little. And also use the MAC Fix Plus, which, while this one dries it down, mattes it out to make it last. Then I add a little life back in with the MAC Fix Plus, which gives it a little life back in, makes it a little less matte. Push that in. Oh my gosh. We are done. I'm going to change the light, see if I can get you guys in slightly better lighting just to see the finished product on my face. I know you're probably dying to see. Okay, let me take this clip out. I might have to normally curl my hair, but since I'm in quarantine, I am using heat once a week, but straightening it and blow drying it takes a lot less work than running a curling iron through my hair. So I've been straightening it a ton, which like I literally curl my hair every weekend. Most people know. So I feel very different. Okay, so this is it. That's the look. So you can see the highlight going. And like I said, I do not have perfect skin by any means. So I love the full coverage foundation. And if I love a full coverage foundation, like if you have acne, like that means it's full coverage and like it will cover. So trust me, because I do not have perfect skin, like I said. So I do want makeup that has that full coverage look to it. So here we are. Makeup is all done. And now I'm ready for my Zoom call, I guess. Normally, like, someone would add lipstick, which, like, I do have a lot of lipstick. 30 I counted, so it could be more. Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not going anywhere, so, like, what's the point? But for you guys, I'll just throw on this Kylie color, which is, like, fairly new for me, and it's called Creme Brulee, and I really like this Kylie lipstick. It's not one of her matte formulas, and it just is a really natural color, and I was kind of needing one like that because a lot of my colors are purples or like a really like mauve-y color, and I just needed something that was like way more neutral. And then I also got her this pink lip gloss by her, and I had the Fenty Clear Gloss, which everyone should own. Everyone should own the Fenty Clear Gloss because it is amazing, and you could use clear gloss with everything. But when I mentioned losing stuff, I've lost that twice going out. So here I am. It's on my list, but I got this pink one for my birthday from Kylie, and I'm just going to toss it in the middle. And you know, I'm allowed to eat dinner, so it's just going to come right off, but I'm looking cute. I gotta figure out what earrings to wear. Probably just throw some hoops in, because you can't go wrong with hoops. And call it a night and drink some Trulies. And that's that. Alright guys, I'll see you for the next video, and thanks for tuning in.